All right, welcome back to SportsLine, everybody. Again, your phone calls welcome, 737-7767. Looking to hear from Preds fans tonight, how they're feeling about the way this team is playing, and assuming that they beat the St. Louis Blues and win the series and move on to the Western Conference Finals. What are your realistic expectations about this team to get to the Stanley Cup Final and maybe win the Stanley Cup? So your phone calls certainly welcome there. Meantime, we're going to hear from a guy who's been absolutely electric for the Predators in these playoffs. Defenseman Ryan Ellis. The guy's doing it all. He's scoring, he's blocking shots, he's making saves for Pekka Rinne like he did last night in the second period. Ryan Ellis, a franchise record 7 straight playoff games with at least 1 point. Here's what he had to say earlier today.
You guys feel like underdogs heading into these playoffs, considering you're the second wild card?
I think a lot of people have probably put us in that category, obviously being the second wild card, but I think as a team, we knew we were growing, getting better as the year went on, and all we had to do was make the playoffs, and really anything can happen. There's been teams in our same position before go very far, and we just knew we had to get in. We had a lot of work to do to get in, but yeah, and kind of anything can happen in playoffs.
Was it the 2012 Kings that kind of gave teams that belief that just get in? And
yeah, more or less. I mean, the league, everyone's even. I mean, you can a top-ranked team can lose to a lower team at any time during the year, and it happens all the time. And there's such parity in the league that it's so competitive, and anyone can win at any time.
Do you feel like with how many high-quality defensemen that are currently on this team and have been on this team since as long as you've been here, that from a national perspective, one of them, two of them are always going to be considered, for lack of a better term, underrated because of how many good players on defense this team has always had?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I know, I think our team, our coaches, everyone in the organizations realize how valuable everyone is, whether it be forward, D, or goalie, to the organization, and that's why they're here. And I guess that would be more, I guess, a media's persona of it, kind of how you guys would, I guess, draw it up, sort of thing. But no, everyone's here for a reason, and are looked upon for certain qualities and called upon, and that's kind of how our team's built.
You've received a lot of attention because of the way you've been playing in this postseason. What has that been like for you?
Yeah, it's been fun. Obviously, it's nice to get some recognition here and there, but at the end of the day, it's about winning, and we have to go out. We still have a huge job, huge task at hand to finish this series, and it's not going to be easy. So no matter who scores the goals or gets the credit or does it, we got to win, and we got to move on.
A lot more responsibilities for you this year, and ice time, I guess, with Shea moving on. I wonder if that took some adjustment for you this season, and you know, has there been a progression for you this season, do you think, in terms of things like that?
Yeah, I always said you're never going to replace someone like Shea, not only on the ice but off the ice, and the things he brings to your dressing room. So we've kind of done it by committee in here, and everyone kind of pitching in and adding what they can to the room and to the on-ice play, and we've all found success in that aspect, and we're going to have to do that to be good going forward.
You mentioned how hard these closeout games are. Do you go in with the approach Friday, hey, let's just go to St. Louis and win a game? Do you separate it from closing the series, or do you combine it and say, let's get this series over with?
Yeah, it's going to be the hardest game. We thought last game was the toughest of the whole series, not only physically, but just the score in general, and it was a tight game, and it's only going to get harder from here, and we got to go with them in with the mindset of closing this out and knowing that it's going to be a tough game, and just be the best version of ourselves.
Ryan, Pekka, you know, had kind of admitted himself that he had maybe a more difficult season last season, and he had trouble with that personally. To see what he's doing now in these playoffs at his age, he's hitting like .970 or so far in the playoffs, which is unheard of. What's it been like for you guys to watch, not only in the playoffs and bounce back this season and play well, and what he's done so far in these playoffs? Yeah,
since day one that I've been here, Pex has been, the MVP of this team every year. He plays so hard. His work ethic is second to none. And I think it becomes contagious when you're out there and you see him in practice, just on a standard drill, bouncing from side to side just to make a save in practice. And it becomes contagious, and you want to do the same thing. And you see a guy go like to battle like that for you, you want to return the favor and work just as hard for him. So he's an unbelievable teammate, character guy, a leader in this room, and it's great to see the success he's finding as well, because it's much deserved.
Have you ever seen a goalie go behind his net the way he does to stop pucks? I mean, just the level of aggression he has in doing it, and the athleticism that he uses in just stopping pucks around.
Yeah, that's one of his things. He's amazing at doing that. It makes our job as D much easier instead of going back for pucks, and he's really good at it. So we trust him fully back there with making the right reads and making the right plays, and he's been doing it for a long time, and everything's kind of coming together, which is great for him.
We talk about players and their high hockey IQ is something you hear about certain players, and you have a knack to be able to read plays and know where pucks are going, and it seems to be working to your advantage. I guess, how does a player formulate that on-ice intelligence? What sort of process does that take to be able to know where to be at all times?
Yeah, I think it's just comes with experience, and I mean, growing up, I wasn't the biggest guy, so I couldn't just run into a corner and run people over, all that kind of stuff. So for me, it was about thinking the game, I guess, faster or in a different way than other players. And so I've been really, I guess, had that practice for a long time. And everyone thinks the game differently, sees the game differently. But I don't know if you can really develop it much as just learn from your mistakes and learn from the more time you're out there, I guess.
Hey, what's the benefit of going righty-righty and lefty-lefty on the power play? Just curious, in your mind. It's not standard, right? Usually.
No, I mean, there's benefits to both sides of it, going lefty-righty and obviously righty-righty, and it's just someone's philosophy over another person's philosophy. I guess there's no really, you have two one-timers one way, but you don't have one coming back kind of thing. So it's You can look at it from both ways as a advantage or disadvantage. So
you guys have pretty much done that all season, more or less?
For the most part, yeah. We've obviously mixed and matched at different times, but for the most part, it's somewhat been standard like that.
Cool to see Lavi get so animated like
that. Yeah, I saw that afterwards. It was.
I think it's trending worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the building does to you. You see me jump on Nealer. I usually don't get too excited, and I was more happy, I think, for him than the actual goal. But the building is so electric, and the fans are doing an amazing job of cheering and how loud it is in there. So you can see it gets contagious. It gets even the most people that aren't really too animated. It can get them pretty into it.
Are you guys able to talk during TV timeouts?
Yeah, that's another thing. It's at times, I mean, you either got to get right, up close and personal with someone just to get a word in, or kind of just hand signals or whatnot, because it's loud. It's nothing. There's nothing I've heard that loud before, and it's all game too. It's not, the first 10 minutes or the last. It's all game.
Preds defenseman Ryan Ellis having an unbelievable playoff run for the Nashville Predators right now, speaking to the media. Time for another quick break. When we come back, we're going to hear from the guy that Ryan Ellis calls the MVP of the Predators franchise, and this year he's living up to it. We're going to hear from the goaltender, Pekka Rinne, when we come back right here on SportsLine. Stay with us.